We have some huge news regarding Roman Reigns and his future. Welcome to Latte's Vision episode number 19. Let's get into it. As of now, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins is planned for SummerSlam. Roman and Seth have never gotten to have that huge big match on like the biggest stage. The closest thing they had was the Royal Rumble match, but the Royal Rumble, as big as it is not WrestleMania or SummerSlam. And as Roman Reigns gets older and gets more into Hollywood and Seth Rollins gets injured frequently, the chances of it happening become less and less likely at WrestleMania. So right now, they are both healthy, they're both extremely hot, so just do this match at SummerSlam. And selfishly, because I'm going to this event, I kind of need to see this, but it would also be nice to have him have a feud outside of the bloodline during his title reign. And by the way, at the end of the video, I will give you my predictions for King and Queen of the Ring, and Seth Rollins is a very strong contender. As for WrestleMania 43, Roman Reigns versus Obafemi is currently planned. At least if The Rock is unable to compete, it's gonna be bloodline rules. Please do everything you can to get The Rock, but if he really just won't do it, do this, because this would be an absolutely amazing match. The main event of night 2, this would be incredible and a huge passing of the torch moment for Roman Reigns to Obafemi. The torch is currently on Roman, and I would love to see him pass it to Oba, who is the future of this business. Apparently, Nick Khan claims that WWE doesn't care about online fan backlash or criticism backlash. And we've just heard this garbage so many times by now. I don't know why he keeps trying, Triple H and him keep trying to gaslight us into believing that they don't care. We know they care. They know they care. I don't understand what the point of it is. As this person points out in this tweet, if they really didn't care about social media backlash, we would have had The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. They wouldn't have blocked a reporter from having access to rating WrestleMania after giving WrestlePalooza a bad grade. They removed post-match press conferences. They still use streamers' clips in their recap hype videos or whatever. They're striking down content creators. There's just so many things that point to the fact that they obviously care. They just refuse to admit it for some reason. It is just utterly stupid and comical at this point. Last thing about Roman Reigns, he was spotted in public, and since he is the biggest star in the history of the company, an entire crowd was gathered around him and they were chanting OTC. Not saying, I'm just saying, I don't see anybody doing that for Cody Rhodes. I'm kind of going back and forth here, but back to Nick Khan saying they don't care about criticism, online criticism. He claims that The Rock was always planned to be in the tag match, and there was never going to be Rock versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, I mean, you know, you know what? He's right. They had The Rock return, befriend Cody, try to take his Royal Rumble spot, got as far as him giving him the Royal Rumble spot. But that was all just a work, and they are so smart, they are intergalactic geniuses, that they knew that would work so well. And coincidentally, when the We Want Cody movement got super hot, they changed the Royal Rumble spot back to Cody. You guys are honestly stupid. Like, obviously, it was never going to be Rock versus Roman. Obviously, that was all sarcasm. Nick Khan is stupid. Mick Foley is in AEW, and apparently he's going to be wrestling one more match in AEW at 60 years old. And man, I hope it's not something crazy because I don't know if he can handle that at his age. No offense to him, but he's getting old. The Packers just made an absolutely idiotic, cheese-headed decision. They just paid Christian Watson, who is no better than any of their other 5 wide receiver threes, $110 million. He is literally not even their best receiver. They have a bunch of wide receiver 3 level guys, and they're paying Christian Watson $25 million a year. He has not had more than 620 yards in a season, more than 7 touchdowns in a season, and more than 41 receptions in a season. No Pro Bowls, no All-Pros, nothing. Putting up wide receiver 3 numbers and is getting paid as the 10th highest paid, I believe. Or no, maybe it was 16th. I'm not exactly sure. But he's getting paid way too much money. The Packers are embarrassing. Good for you, though, Christian Watson. You just robbed your franchise. There has reportedly been an internal frustration with the lack of direction for Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan on TV since WrestleMania 42. And yeah, I mean, it's been embarrassing. Liv just hasn't even had a single title defense after about a month and a half of having the title because they're just waiting for Stephanie, who is seemingly going to return very, very soon. But you can do something in the meantime. Cody Rhodes is waiting for Randy to come back, and they're doing Gunther in the meantime. Why not do the same thing for Liv? Instead of putting her in the Queen of the Ring tournament as the world champion. Or a world champion. And Dom has literally just done nothing since WrestleMania on the main roster. Ilya Dragunov has also not been on TV since the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and his last singles match was in March, which is 3 months ago. Ilya Dragunov is way too talented and way too good of a wrestler to be left off of TV. Carried the United States Championship division for months. Still haven't paid off Ilya versus Melo. One of my favorite in-ring wrestlers in the entire company, or just in all of wrestling in general, I'd say. It is just so unfortunate because he could literally be a cornerstone of this business. He is only 33 years old. Wrestlers are in their prime in their mid to late 30s. Please, just for the love of God, I don't know why they didn't put him in the King of the Ring tournament. Just bring him back. Another person who hasn't been on TV in a while is Randall Keith Orton, who hasn't been on TV since WrestleMania 41 or 42 Night 1. And since then, SmackDown ratings have dropped by over 30%. It was so anticlimactic that Randy just disappeared after WrestleMania. And he's not injured because he said that he wasn't on Twitter. We need to bring him back. I'm hoping that he comes back very, very soon. And hopefully wins the title at SummerSlam, because he is desperately needed on SmackDown. Speaking of SummerSlam, Io Sky versus Rhea. No, oh my God. Io Sky, I wouldn't mind that match, but Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World title is expected to be at SummerSlam. This match would absolutely bang, and let's not forget last year in the build-up to Evolution 2, they were seemingly going to be doing Liv Morgan versus Io Sky at Evolution, but they ended up not being able to because Liv got that very unfortunate injury in her shoulder. I really hope we get this match. And I would honestly love to see Io win and get a proper title reign because she did not get that after WrestleMania 41. Finn Balor is the newest member of the SmackDown roster. Also, real quick, I'm recording this during SmackDown, and currently, as of me talking right now, they are doing a Fatal 4-Way King of the Ring match. This is the wrong bracket, but whatever. they are doing Trick versus Daddy Dom versus Damian Priest versus Braun Breaker. So, real quick, before this match ends, I'm going to predict the winner. I think Braun Breaker is going to win. Finn is the newest member of the SmackDown roster, though, and they reportedly wanted to do it because they wanted him to move on from the Judgment Day Vortex. And I love that decision. I just hope he doesn't get stuck in the Wepaverse or the MFT Vortex now. Do a little main event experiment. Why not? Real quick, I will predict the Queen of the Ring. We'll start off in the top left. Liv versus Becky versus Alexa versus Chelsea. I think the winner of that match will be Becky Lynch. Bottom left, Sol Ruca, Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. I think Charlotte Flair will win that one, giving us Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair on the left side. And this one is honestly really tough to predict between Becky and Charlotte. I think either one works, but I'm going to trust WWE because Charlotte Flair doesn't need the win, and Becky doesn't really either, but it would make more sense for her to get the win coming out of the mid-card. Charlotte has always been in the main event scene and can just fart and get a world title shot. So I'm going to say Becky Lynch makes it to the finals. Now for the right side, Roxanne, Io, Julia, and Lash Legend. This was already won by Io Sky. Bayley versus Raquel versus JC Jane versus Kiana James. This match already happened. I don't know who won it because I haven't been watching this full episode. If I had to pick someone from this, though, I would probably say JC Jane. Let me look it up and double check real quick. Raquel Rodriguez was the one who won it. Perfectly fine with that. So we're going to get Raquel versus Io Sky. I think Io Sky will end up winning that, giving us our final being Becky Lynch versus Io Sky. And I think it's going to be Io Sky who comes out with the win. And I really like this because she can challenge either woman. It would make sense for her to go after Liv, and it would make sense for her to go after Rhea, which I think would actually be really intriguing if they play into it. Now for the men's, we had Penta versus Oba versus Solo versus Carmelo. Obafemi won that. Right now we have Dom versus Braun versus Trick versus Priest. I think Braun Breaker will win, like I previously said like a minute or two ago. Then we have Seth Rollins versus Javon Evans versus Talatonga versus Ricky Saints. I think that will be won by Seth Rollins. Then we have Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. I think that will be won by LA Knight. Giving us Rollins versus LA Knight, on the right side, which I think will be won by Seth Rollins, putting him in the finals. Then we have Oba versus Braun Breaker, which is going to be insane. But I think this is going to be a win for Braun Breaker, making our final Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. And I think the reason Braun will win is because Brock Lesnar will return in costume. I know, super creative. Then Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker in the finals. And I think this will be won by Seth freaking Rollins. And he will go on to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But also, similar to Io Sky, it would make complete sense for him to go after Cody, which would be awesome. And usually I would do a SmackDown preview right about now, but SmackDown's already happening, and by the time this is uploaded, it's already over. So thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and